Alright, so when I'm animating a mouse pointer like this, okay, I want it to be replaced with a hand pointer, and I don't want to animate both the properties or the property of opacity for both the objects. I just want to animate the opacity of this object, and I want the hand to appear whenever this disappears. So the situation is of that of a driver and driven. So in this case, this mouse pointer is going to be the driver, and this hand is going to be the driven object. So I'm going to connect them with a medium that is going to be a slider control, and for which I have got this null in place. So on this null, I'm going to add an expression control, that is a slider control. It's added. Now what I want to do is I want to animate the opacity of the mouse pointer through the slider, and then I'm going to drive the hand pointer with the same slider, but I'm going to make it a negative value. Okay, so let's do it. First, what I have to do is I have to connect this opacity of the mouse pointer to the slider. So I'll just all click on the stopwatch and pick whip to the slider control. So here I have it. The slider right now is 0, so I cannot see the mouse pointer. So if I animate it at this point, I want to see the slider and the mouse cursor, so I'll keep it 100. So from the beginning it's 100, and I'm going to key it. Okay, the key is there. I'm pressing U on the keyboard to see this as a diamond. So at this point of time, what I want to do is I want to see the hand only and not the mouse cursor. So I'll just connect the hand with the slider tool with an expression down here to the property of opacity of this hand pointer. So I'm going to place a few more keyframes on this slider. So at this time also this is going to be 100. No, not really. At this point, after this frame, this should go to 0, and the hand should come up. Okay, and as it leaves, it should go from 0 to 1. Okay, so right now if I put this hand pointer off, what I can see is from this point to this point I can see the mouse cursor, then it goes off and it comes up again as it leaves that place and goes back to some other position. Now I have to connect the opacity of the hand pointer to the slider via an expression. So I'm going to go to the opacity of the hand control, and I'll click on it to open its expression editor, and here I'm going to put that expression, which is going to be an if statement. So if, within brackets, I'm going to reference the slider control here. So slider control, okay, and if the slider control is 0, then the opacity of this hand pointer should be 100. So I have to do the checking here. So equal to 0, and what it should do should be outside the box. It should set it to 100, else it should be 0. Okay, and let's end it with a semicolon like this. So that's the line of code, or the line of expression. It's very simple that I have to put it here. Now let's see what just happened. It's not working. Okay, let's see what happens. The slider control is here, equal to 0. Okay, I didn't connect the slider control with the slider, so the reference is here but the connection is not here. So select this, all of it, I mean including the inverted commas, and then pick with this to the slider, and now see. This is exactly what I wanted, and what I have animated is this property that is now tied with the slider, and this property is reference to the opacity of the mouse pointer, and I have put no keys absolutely on the hand pointer. So this solves the problem, but it's not exactly what I wanted. You can see there are certain problems in it. The first problem is the slider control. This was not my first choice. My first preference was a checkbox control, because the checkbox control is it's a Boolean control. It's either 0 or 1, and a slider control is actually, it deals with fraction. You can see it goes to 76.72, which is a float value. Okay, so in between these two frames it's going to, there are enormous there's infinite possibilities of what it could be. But in order to be simple and more simple, what I wanted is, I wanted to set it to either 0 or 1, but it was not possible in the beginning, but later I found out it could be done. So this is a mini challenge for all who is watching this video, to set it up with a checkbox control. Okay, because if I go a few frames, from here, the fault should come in. You can see this dips down, and something is happening. This is not quite right, and it's also very difficult to animate this property from here. On the opacity you can go directly from 100 to 0 by this kind of a gesture, but on this one you can go to negative also. I can push it down to a negative 260, so which is also not perfect. I don't think this is going to work everywhere, but right now it works just fine. So there's another thing also I would like to add some more value to it by adding something else. That is, whenever I click this button here with the pointer, I want another thing to appear. That is a blink or something like that simulates a mouse button pressing. Okay, so I'd also like to connect everything with this one, and I just have to animate one property, that is the opacity of this mouse cursor, this mouse pointer. That is what I want. So that is the next step of the challenge. If you want to take it, and take it up from here. So this is going to be a challenge for everyone. So if you like this video, I'll be most happy. I was quite excited to share this small piece of knowledge with everyone, has been fun. Thank you very much for watching this video. Bye bye.